Hey everyone, welcome back to TK is Outlandish. I'm Teresa and I'm the book reader.
I'm Ryan. I'm the TV watcher.
And we go over Outlander from both perspectives. If you're new to our channel, thanks for watching. If you are a subscriber, yay, we almost have 200.
Nice.
Welcome back. We're doing something a little bit different today because we're running late. It's just been really busy with the holidays and everything. So we're just gonna kind of casually talk about episode 7, 11.
12.
Right? No, 12. No,
So
12 is tonight. And then 13 and 14 is. No, there's 3 episodes left. Whatever episode it is, Cardinal Knowledge.
Cardinal Knowledge is 712.
Okay. This is another disagreement we have, but it's okay. Anyway, Cardinal Knowledge. We're going to go a little bit more casual than our usual setup of the office. We're going to go even more casual and do it on the couch.
Yep, because immediately after this, we're going to watch. With all the holidays, we haven't watched the next one yet. So we're, again, behind. We're just going to record just like this. We're going to talk a little bit about Cardinal Knowledge, and then we will go straight into watching the next one. Different video.
Yes. So just to recap really quickly in Carnal Knowledge, what happens is John tells Jamie that he had sex with Claire and why he had sex with Claire, and they get into a really big fight. Jamie leaves him with some rebels. He almost gets hung. Denzel Hunter helps him escape, we think, because it ended up with hearing a gunshot. Jamie and Claire hash out what's happened between them. William punches Ian, gets Ian arrested. Jamie forces him to get him unarrested.
Mm-hmm. All within like a 5-minute span.
Yes, and then he sleeps with the prostitute, and that's basically it.
That was a lot. That was actually a lot
Okay.
for that episode. Like
It
we
was.
went through a lot.
It was, and it totally skipped over anything with Roger, Buck, Brianna, and Rob, which I kind of thought they might have done.
Much to my surprise, honestly, I thought with the cliffhanger they gave us with Rob showing up in the previous episode, I thought for sure we'd at least touch on that a little bit, but I get it.
I have to say that's how reading the book. That's how it was. You'd read chapters and chapters and chapters with Jamie's storyline and Claire and that whole storyline, and then like the next chapter would be like it would be getting into something really good, and then the next chapter would be like Roger and Buck, and you're like, what's happening?
No, that's
like,
fair.
It's a little jarring.
With books, you got chapters. You
Yeah.
have the definitive chapters. But in the TV show, you often jump from plot line to plot line within the same episode.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
that's a possibility. You don't really have chapters. You have episodes, but not chapters. That's a little bit different.
But you know what's interesting is reading the book, I felt like some of the scenes some of the chapters do read as scenes in the book, and I could like see it like, oh, this is going to be a scene, and book readers see if you agree. But you bring up an interesting point because I just wanted to delve into 2 specific scenes, and I would say relationships in this episode that that we've actually been talking about in our random conversations since the episode for like a week.
This I almost took notes on this.
Yes.
And that tells you how much like we've really been interested in this. So
Yes.
so this episode brought up a lot of discussion, and I'm really excited for this.
Especially because I had been reading online, so many book readers are like, oh, this is just like in the book. And it was very, very close to the book.
Mm-hmm.
But there were specific things that book readers would know that was not brought up in the show. And I just wondered, and this is where you come in, my dear husband, as your opinion, as how you view this, not knowing the and I know the book is different from the show, but like when you know the book and you're like, but this happened and this happened,
Mm-hmm.
and then you don't know because you didn't read the book. So
right.
So example number 1. So the is this Ian and Rachel and
No.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. John and Jamie. Oh, okay. So John and Jamie.
Yeah, we'll start right off with the good stuff. Right where I left off with my cough, crying, laughing from the last episode.
If you watch the episode, and my reaction, obviously I knew it was going to happen in general. And Ryan's reaction was very different. And so
it's hilarious. I'm cracking up just thinking about it.
And like the comments I've read, like people have been laughing, and not that I didn't think it was funny, but I want to know I want to know why you thought it was funny.
Okay. Fair.
Okay.
So I thought it was hilarious because at first it started out like a very serious conversation. You could see John just mulling it over and worrying about it. And he's like, I gotta tell Jamie, I gotta do it. I was like, I have carnal knowledge of your wife. And then of course Jamie's like, what? And the conversation goes. And of course, John is trying to have this very serious conversation with Jamie and saying like, this happened. And Jamie's like, nah, I don't believe you.
Wait, can I interrupt you for 1 second? And we discussed this too. Like, I don't know if it would make a difference. Hi. I don't know if it would make a difference or not if Jamie knew that Claire and John had gotten married. Would it make a difference? And did he know? Because how would he know?
Exactly. I mean, if you think about all the stuff that happened beforehand, I would assume that he knew that at this point, he figured out that they were married. But not by long, because they were running through the back alleys trying to avoid the soldiers. And he probably at some point said, oh, by the way, we thought you were dead. We got married, had to save Claire from being. I can see it. That there wasn't a lot of time, but there was some time. So it is plausible for me that they had this conversation.
Okay.
Briefly. Off camera. Yeah. Off camera, like between the scenes that we see.
Okay.
So I don't know if they did, but it's plausible that they did. So at this point, I could understand if Jamie knew that they got married.
And why?
And very vaguely why.
Okay.
And I'm sure that Jamie would understand and probably appreciated that, knowing that if he was willing to accept that, well, we all thought you were dead. And this was the best thing to keep Claire safe.
Now, see, one of the things I would think that they would point that out is because Jamie said, thank you for taking care of Claire instead of like, thank you for protecting her. Because the thought was he married Claire to protect her. Whereas he already knew, because we talked about that's how he knew to go there, because he knew that Claire was staying there. So I guess. But do you want me to ask questions, or do you want to continue on with?
Let's finish this. Let me finish the first thought here, I guess, and why I thought it was funny. Then we'll open it up a little bit more. And so he was having this serious conversation, and Jamie just kind of kept knocking him down consistently. It's consistently either basically saying I don't believe you or that's silly, and then John just frustrated with the whole thing, frustrated with everything, frustrated that Jamie's alive, frustrated that William found out that he's not son, frustrated about all these things, finally just snaps. And he snapped in such a fantastic way that because they don't drop the F-bomb very often in this show.
Lord John has never, well, he's in the show, but Lord John has never dropped the F-bomb.
Right. So so Lord John has never dropped the F-bomb. The show rarely does.
In the later episodes, yeah.
It hasn't recently, and so when it did, it hit, and not as hard as Jamie hit John, but I mean it was good because it was finally that moment that we snapped, and just all of the pretenses dropped, and John was just very raw, and basically just confronted Jamie with the facts, just the bare carnal facts.
Yeah. So, so you said we were watching that John did deserve to be punched. Now, why do you say that?
Well, first of all, they slept together. They didn't have to sleep together. They slept together.
Yeah.
So that deserves a punch. And we've seen Jamie in the past being okay, you can punch me once for this wrong that I have done to you.
Yeah.
And then we're square.
Yeah. He specifically said that to Roger.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the scene I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
But then whenever Roger kept going after him, Jamie's now we're getting into fighting territory here.
Yeah.
So you got your hit on me. And again, I thought that was very justified when Roger punched him. Again, these are justified guy to guy punches. And I'm okay with that. The one and done.
Okay.
After that, I have to just attribute to Jamie just being Jamie. Like the violent side of Jamie just coming to the fore again.
So I'm gonna insert some of my reading into try not to reading into him to like psycho analyze him because he's not. Jamie Fraser is not a real human. He's a character from a TV show about time travel based on a book about time travel. But character wise, do you think because and I think a lot of the book readers think that Jamie is just living out the trauma that he went through with Blackjack.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing though that they don't portray in the show is Jamie never gets over this trauma with Blackjack. In the show, he kind of like gets, he like still, it's still, he still has nightmares and stuff, but in the middle of season 2. But then he kind of like gets over it.
Right.
And in the book, he never gets over it. He has night terrors. He has nightmares. He just it's it's PTSD. So I think that brings it up onto the surface. So do you think that if you don't know, like in the show, if they portray it, he's kind of like over it. He's been over it for 20 years. Do you think that it would have been in the show, it would have looked as overkill? But if you knew that this was still a trauma that he lives with, it would make sense. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. So my thoughts on that are I think it would have been better if they would have shown it in the show more, like you say they have in the book. Mm-hmm. Because there's a couple things going on here. Getting over it is actually showing him dealing with it or coming to terms with it, fighting with it over a time and then accepting it. That would be getting over it. What they did in the show was not that. What they did in the show was nothing. Yeah. At least not past season 2. They just ignored it entirely, and it makes absolute sense that this would just bring back all those memories that he's been repressing essentially since then. For how long has it been in Showtime?
Over 20 years.
20 years now?
Like 25 years now.
Right, yeah. So this is a long time. And, finally he's confronted with it again or something that he's never dealt with and that people of that time were ill-equipped to deal with.
Okay, so now, dear viewers, I'm going to do a Lord John. I'm gonna say something unpopular. I don't really like Lord John. I'm gonna tell you why.
No.
No. So let me make it clear. I always separate the actor from the character. I do like David Barry. I do like how he portrays Lord John. I actually like TV Lord John better than book Lord John. And that's why book Lord John is why I don't like Lord John. So, and very few people, and like it's funny because the people online that I've said who don't like him also don't like him because of the book. Okay, so, but I always see like this. Okay, so and you think he's like one of your favorite characters.
He is, yeah.
And you think he's an honorable man.
Yes, everything that I've seen him portray, he has been upstanding. He has been kind. He has been thoughtful. He's trying to do right by his son, by William.
Sorry, I just thought of another reason I don't really like him from the book.
Oh, they just keep on coming, don't they?
Well, that's the thing. I think that David Barry's portrayal really lends to that too. Like I think he does a really great job portraying him. He is a very empathetic actor. And I think it also helps. Like I try not to delve too much into the actor's personal lives because I don't want it to color my viewing. But I do know, like I watch their interviews sometimes too, and like things I've read from people who have met him and stuff. He seems like just a genuinely nice person in real life, so I think that helps too. But okay, this is why I don't like Lord John. Objectively, if you look at the things that Lord John has done, if he was a woman, you would think he was psycho. If Jamie was a woman, you would think he was a stalker. Let me go over it. Let's look at the evidence, shall we? Okay, first of all, he first meets Jamie. He tries to shoot him. Understandable, they're bored. Okay, tries to shoot him. Jamie, in turn, breaks his arm. Okay, so however many years, 15 years later, 10, 12, 15 years later, he meets him in jail. Okay, so Lord John starts having feelings for him, and he thinks it's appropriate to tell his prisoner that he has feelings, show his affections towards his prisoner, which is totally inappropriate in a power dynamic, that he has feelings for him after his prisoner tells him how much he loved and misses his wife. So his prisoner says, "Take your hands off me or I'll kill you." That I would think that if somebody would tell me that, that would nix my feelings toward them. Okay, maybe I'm cynical in my old age. Maybe if I was younger, I'd be like, "Oh, but I love it." But now I'm like, "You gotta get over it."
Are you applying 20th century logic? Or are you applying 18th century logic?
Dude, 18th century logic, this wouldn't happen at all because their love would be illegal. Their relationship would be illegal.
Well, that's
So I
the
think I think the logic. I think it's just logic. I don't think it's 20th century or 18th century logic. I think it's just logic. Okay. So then if you think about it, when all the prisoners are shipped to America, John sends Jamie to Hellwater to save him. He wants to play chess with him. Okay. He wants to keep tabs on him, people. He wants to keep tabs on his former prisoner again, okay?
that he has a sexual desire
That he has
towards.
a sexual desire towards, okay? Um, then Jamie has a child who looks just like Jamie. And I discussed this in the last episode that Jamie did not trust Lord John to to be William's stepfather because Jamie asked John to look after him when he came to visit, and then um Lord John says, "Oh, it's fine. I'll get to be with him all the time. I'm marrying Isabel. I don't love her. I don't find her sexually attractive, but I'm marrying her so I can take care of your son that looks just like you." That sounds that sounds stalkerish. If that was a woman, that would be stalkerish.
You're right. I agree with those particular facts. That is stalkery behavior.
Okay, and Jamie didn't trust this either. That's why in the book, after John says this, he offers his body to him because he tells Claire later if he would have said yes, he would have killed him because he would have known that his intentions towards William were not sincere. Okay, so let's back up to why Jamie was also suspicious, I think.
And those are all very. That's all. The details of that. Some of that did happen in the show, but a
Yeah.
lot of that was kind of book
But
based stuff.
in the book it was different. It was different order. Um in the book Jamie offers himself before he knows John's getting married to Isabel. I'm sorry, in the show. In the
Right.
book, he doesn't do it until John says that because it's a test.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the reason why Jamie did that, and maybe that's why it wouldn't have worked in the show anyway, is because as I put it in another forum, Jamie's only experience with men of Lord John's nature is Black Jack Randall and the Duke of Sandringham,
Mm-hmm.
who in the book, not in the show, tried to tried to molest Jamie when he was 16. And and Jamie tells it in a flashback, and everyone's he's telling like a whole room full of people at the Castle Leoc, and they're all like, "Oh, Jamie, you gotta watch your horse." And they're like laughing about it, and I'm like, "This is awful." that is 20th century logic
Yes.
and 18th century logic.
Yes, it is.
So this is Jamie's experience. So I think that's where his suspicion also comes from. Okay, so going on.
That's completely valid. That's
Yes.
completely valid. I
Yes.
get it.
So after that, okay. Oh, this is something that happened in the book. John lets Claire, when Claire comes back, Claire There's a scene, I'll just go over it real quick. There's a scene where she overhears Jamie and John talking about William, and she mistakes it as them. She thinks that like they had a sexual relationship because she
Okay.
doesn't know they're talking about William's picture. And
Mm.
she gets the vibe that John's attracted to Jamie. And he lets her believe it for like a little while. And so like me to
Mm.
me like being a real life wife, if anyone, man or woman, tried to make it seem like my husband had an affair with them, I would not like them. Okay.
Fair. Fair.
And this is okay, this is the other thing I remember. So I'm pretty sure, book readers, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that John tells Brianna about his feelings for Jamie, and that's completely inappropriate. Could you imagine someone telling you that they had feelings for your father?
That would be weird.
Yes. That's
Yes,
completely
that
inappropriate.
would be inappropriate and weird. Um, I have no commentary on that. Yes, weird.
Okay, okay. So and then the last thing, I think this is the last thing. So the last thing that oh, he does, and I didn't know if they were gonna bring this up in the show, but they did. He does have a relationship with his cook, okay? Which he says is mutual, which might completely be, but it's still his cook. And if his cook was a woman, I think people would think, well, the power dynamic there, like that's your cook. The power dynamic is not even. That's
Mhm.
inappropriate.
It's just by its
So
nature
right.
inappropriate. Right.
So I don't think that Lord John, the character in the book, is as honorable as everyone feels he is. So so having that said that, do you think that Jamie is also like question like when John says that to him, do you think he's questioning like their entire friendship? Like if someone said that to me, um, I would be like, oh, this entire time you were actually pretending to be my friend when this entire time you just really were hoping like something would happen between us.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I
Okay.
don't think so. I don't think Jamie had that high level of thought at
Okay.
that point. I think Jamie was just acting on brute instinct at that point.
Do you think it's something that might occur to him afterwards?
It's
Because this is obviously going to affect their friendship.
it's certainly possible.
Okay.
But I could also just see them kind of like being, well, it was just something that happened. Well, water under the bridge now.
So because Claire says in the book, in her narrative, but like not says out loud, that one of the pillars of their relationship is not acknowledging, like knowing in the back of both of their heads that John's attracted to Jamie
Right,
and never acknowledging it. And now it's there in the forefront.
right. Yeah,
So
yeah, it is there. And well, the whole thing is it doesn't matter actually at this point because everything is just like everything's done anyway. Yeah, everything's been flipped on its head to begin anyways. Like that relationship is out in the open. The William thing is out in the open.
yeah.
Like everything is just topsy turvy now, and we have no idea
Yeah.
how. But I don't. I have no idea how it's going to. Yeah, how things are going to like where the cards may fall.
So anyway, I think that's all I had to say about Jamie and John's relationship, but I just had to get out there that
It was a lot. This is what we talked about all week.
I've been going on for a while about how I'm not a fan of Lord John. The character. I like David Barry.
I offered to get you the Lord John journals or the Lord John diaries or whatever.
You did, and I was like, no.
And you're like not very interested in it. Yeah.
There's some stuff in the later books that I can tell they refer to that like storylines that really go into the Lord John books, but it's not necessary, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to read. I don't. I think I've started like 6 books and I only finished 2. So this year. So um Okay, so
William Ian.
William, Ian, and Rachel.
Yes.
Okay, so Ryan and I had this discussion, disagreement, maybe.
Yeah.
Why?
No. Yeah. Both. Yeah. Both.
You make it sound like you're really upset about it.
No. No. It's fine. I don't mind. I'm right, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me.
So, and this is another thing too. It's a book. I think it's a book thing versus a TV thing. So, I contend that the reason William punched Ian the first time, was not just because Ian knew that William was Jamie's son, um, and Ian didn't tell him, and that he obviously had feelings for Rachel, and now Rachel and Ian are getting married. But Ryan's opinion is
That William punched Ian
the first time.
the first, yes, the first time, so after Ian and Rachel say like, oh yeah, we're getting married, and Williams kind of grits his teeth and says, that's great for you guys, I wish you the best of everything, and all right, catch you later. And then Ian kind of tries to stop and say like, oh no, why don't you, and it seems like he's going to invite him to the wedding.
Yeah.
And that's when William just spins and just gives him a right hook. um and then Ian's just taken aback. At that point, it's I think it's all of, well, first of all, it's
All of everything.
all of everything for William.
Yeah.
Like that's his cracking point. Like, I mean, he had his moment in the house where he broke things and he shattered things and he kind of went on a rampage.
Which was a great scene, by the way.
Yes. But this was the first time someone outside of the immediate circle, he realized that they knew. So it was first it was the first hit was because William's obviously attracted to Rachel, and now he realizes that those two are hooking up and getting married. So that's why he hit Ian in the first place.
Okay. I think that, but the way it was written in the book, it might have been written this way, because I think it was written really well, but the way it was written very close to in the book. But in the book, as I've mentioned many times before, Jamie and William look exactly alike, and that's why they try to avoid seeing each other. Like, William knows that Jamie's somebody just from seeing him. So I think that maybe that's what the difference is. In the book, William punches Ian because he's like, obviously you had to know, because everyone knew. And Rachel makes it worse because in the show, she's like, it's just that when I look closely, I can kind of see a resemblance.
In the book.
In the show. In the book, she says, oh, yeah, Debbie and I thought that must be the case because you look exactly like each other. How could you not know? And of course, William feels even worse because it's like everyone knows. Like, Rachel knew, Denny knew, Ian knew, like everyone knew, and he was the last to know. And he feels like an idiot, like he was the last person to know. So,
Right.
So maybe in the book he punches Ian because it's like, because he says, he calls him cousin, and before Ian's like, oh, you know then.
Right.
So no, you think he said cousin to see like what his reaction would be.
Mm-hmm.
I think he said cousin as an accusation, but maybe it was an accusation in a book and not in a TV show. That's possible.
Maybe. And maybe he just had a strong inkling. Like, at this point he's like, well, if Jamie knows, he's going to assume that everyone that Jamie knows also knows.
Yeah.
Or at least family.
And he knows that Ian is Jamie's nephew.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He gave him the rosaries and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's all I had to say about that. I'm not even going to talk about William and Arabella Jane, because not too much spoilers, but that relationship will continue. So I'm just gonna say that there's more.
Mhm.
So we'll address that later.
Yeah, I mean, William's just going through an existential crisis at this point. Everything that he knows about the world has just been shattered. Absolutely, he has no idea who or what he is anymore.
And can I say, when I read the book, and I've read comments from other people like this too, that they did not like William in the book. He just seemed like a hothead and kind of like a know-it-all, and just like, yeah, but the way that Charles Vander Hart, I think is his last name, portrays him. I really like the way he portrays him. Like, I can really see like his crises. And I think it also helped that in the episode where he was so cocky about going into battle and his friend got killed and it just like shattered him. That doesn't happen in the book. I think that really helped bring um William to like a relatable part place.
That was definitely one of the first points in the show where you saw William actually get a dose of reality.
Yes.
And you could see, and you could tell the general was trying to convince him of that beforehand. Trying to convince him, like, war is awful. War is not this glorious thing that you've brought it up to be in your mind. Um, and that was the first point where William gets that dose of reality.
That and his reaction to Simon Fraser dying.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Which, by the way, was his
That's what I was talking about. Simon, yeah. General Fraser.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is his kin.
Yeah. Which would have been his uncle.
No. Jamie never says specifically, like, they're like distant cousins. He never
distant cousins.
Yeah. He never specifically says like how they're related, I don't think. So I think that's all I had to say about that relationship. And like
we could keep going on about this, but like
I really want to watch the new episode.
We need to get to the new episode, but we also need to get this discussion out. So
so the last thing I want to say, why I love John Barry, is I love this. This is just the side of Lord John we have not seen, and I think that he just portrays it so well. That's
I don't want to take pleasure in someone else's pain like this. This is not like the Schadenfreude. Like,
yes,
it's.
But he's a character. He's not a real person.
It's a character, right? It's right. It's a character,
yeah.
And this is very obviously how the author and the producers want us to feel.
Yes,
this is
he's just like, it reminds me, his expression, that's like the other favorite expression, is right up there with the expression Claire had on her face when Tom Christie kissed her.
Yes.
She was just like
yeah.
I was just trying to picture, like, I'm gonna have to go back and watch again, like, Denzel's reaction to John being like, Claire's not my wife. Jamie Fraser isn't dead. He's who hits me.
Yeah.
But I was asking. It's just like loopy.
Just slow. Yeah. He was so, like, you could just see like this disassociation just like ticking, yes. like his brain, like parts of his brain are everywhere. He doesn't know night from day, left from, like, he's just because again, at this point everything he knows in life is gone.
And everything was like leading up to that, because he was like talking back to he was like, I don't care. like the whoever that rebel general was or whatever, I'm talking about Pioli and stuff. He's like, I don't know, he's a cousin. Yeah. So
it's like whatever.
I love seeing this side of Lord John, David Barry portraying Lord John, this side of Lord John.
He did. That was hilarious. That was hilarious watching him.
Yeah.
Watching him just be, yes. Why? Yeah. Like his he just the non-blinking stare, Just
When
like
he's gonna blink anyway, his eyes are all swollen.
yes, that is. Yeah.
He just like looks. His like eyes are swollen. He's just like he can barely see. He's just have this goofy ass.
He's like the Joker. He's like he's just I almost expected him just to like start to some like getting like just like break down nervous like laughter. It's just like just nonsense. Yeah, so he's not having a good day.
Yeah. You got it together to escape though, it seems like. So, okay.
He escaped. I mean,
I was
well he's on the run. There's gunshots, I'm sure. Yeah.
All right, so that's all I had to say about that. I don't even know how long we've been talking for, but let's get to the new episode, and yeah, we'll be in the same clothes, same spot.
Yep. So as always, everyone, thanks for listening to our discussion, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.